Happy Catterday, everyone. Welcome back. It is time for a Pounds for Purrs workout. This one was done pretty early in the morning, and that was on purpose. I really needed to make sure I got my workout done definitely in the morning just because I had a lot of stuff to do today, some of which included the morning, especially late morning, so I got up pretty early. In fact, I initially woke up around 4:30, 4:45. Didn't need to be up that early, so I did go back to sleep and woke up when my alarm went off, which was 6:30. That being said, I was tempted to could just go right back to sleep, but thankfully I managed to move around and wake up and then just got ready and left for the gym. So I got to the gym and decided, just because I was on a bit of a time constraint, I was on a schedule, I didn't have all the time in the world, and I was budgeting time basically. So I didn't do any cardio warm-up, and instead I just went right to the incline bench and started doing warm-up sets. So nothing fancy, just a set of 10 with 135, set of 8 with 185, and here we are entering a new cycle of training. So I'm going back to the 10 by 5 with a little bit of a heavier weight this time around. So this is 200 pounds for 50 working reps, 90 seconds of rest in between sets. And with the initial 2 sets, I didn't really want to go for extended pauses just because of the added volume. And as we go along, you'll see longer pauses and longer pauses, always a stoppage, but I would reserve a bit just because if I was going to do a pronounced pause on the chest, it wouldn't be till the last rep, and then as I get into the second half of the sets, then you'll see longer and longer pauses as we go. I just wanted to make sure I didn't burn myself out too soon or took too much just for the sake of pausing. And so of course you'll see that stoppage on the chest. That will always be there as long as possible. And I just played it a little bit safe in the first couple sets, and then after that, then I started to get a little bit more liberal with being able to do pauses. So right around here is when you'll see that start to change and transition. And for the last sets, definitely a good, solid, extended pause on the chest, which I just like doing if and when I can. So overall, bench day, pretty good. No struggle really. Not even the last set was tough, so that's a good sign. That's a very good sign. That's adaptation, and that's the program working. So that should occur as you keep training. Of course, as you keep going, if you extend it, then it gets difficult, really difficult. When you go from 30 reps to 50, that's a pretty big difference. Of course, you won't be going as heavy as you did for the 30, but it also won't be that much lighter either. So the volume really takes charge, and that's where you're going to get the conditioning benefits. So the drawback is it makes it tough. The great part about it is you will be so much better prepared for heavier weights. So anytime I get off of something like this for a program and go to a heavy double, single, it makes it so much more comfortable and easier just because of work capacity being increased, which is not something a lot of people think about. Normally they'll do a deload, and that's perfectly fine. If you want to follow a powerlifting style program and do that year round and just take deloads as you need, that is a fantastic option. I, for myself, have been able to really bust through plateaus and through walls just by reeling things back, deloading, but also not deloading. And what I mean by that is deloading how much weight I'm using, but not in the sense of how much total weight gets moved with volume. So if you take 200 pounds as I'm using here for bench press, and I'm doing it for 50 reps, is a lot different than, let's say, doing 250 pounds for 30 reps. There's a big difference in the effect that has. So having that extra volume really makes a difference, even with a significant less amount of weight. Now for the accessories, I really just went to whatever I thought of first. So for the bench press accessory, I went to a flat barbell bench, same as last time. Warm-up set of 8 with 135 working sets were progressive, so set of 8 with 185, set of 8 with 195, and then topped it off with a set of 8 at 205. And that was good. That was very good. I could keep good form throughout, and at the very last rep, that's when things just slowed down a little bit, so I could probably add another 5 pounds, but trust me, 205 as a top set was absolutely sufficient for me. So here's the last set for bench, and I do want to point out that since I did get to the gym earlier than usual, which actually is funny because it was just about when I used to be able to go to the gym after training clients, but I didn't expect to really see much of anyone, and I was completely surprised that one of the gym crushes was there. Did not know, didn't think she would be there that early. She never is. It's usually late morning, early afternoon is usually when she goes, and she was right there, right on a treadmill, and it was just a very nice, pleasant surprise because there weren't that many people working out, and she happened to be one of them. So that was always great to see her, and her doing her thing, looking amazing, and always doing great stuff. I never have to question if she's going to be doing a good workout because she always does. It's that simple. Okay, T-bar row. So for T-bar row, we did the same warm-up as we have been. So set of 10 with 95 pounds, set of 8 with 120, and here we've got the 10 by 5 with 150. It felt pretty good. I was pretty happy with how they felt and how they were moving. So getting down into the starting position, no problem. Keeping it, no problem. And just getting through the reps was not too bad at all, actually. I wasn't going for anything out of the ordinary, but just making sure the reps were done with control, done with a good peak contraction at the top. And then I waited until about probably set 4-ish before I really started to stick the bar up at the top. And just like bench press, just like with rest pausing the bar on the chest, I just didn't want to do it the entire time because I definitely would have probably have dropped off a little bit in performance if I was going for every single rep. And I don't need to do that. This is more about the volume, and I will do that when I can, if I can. So first few sets, just kind of going through it. Still perfectly acceptable, good reps, good form, good technique. So I'm absolutely okay with that. It's just that I just kept a little bit in reserve and then started to have some fun with getting the weight up and then getting into the peak contraction and then holding the peak contraction. So I'm firing completely when you see that stoppage at the top. I'm still working very hard. Believe me, you can't rest. You can't disengage. You can't relax. If you want that weight to stay where it's at, you have to work very hard after having already lifted it, and then on top of that, keeping it at its high point, at its apex. That's a very useful training tool. You don't always need to incorporate it, but there is a great time and place for it, especially if you're not going heavy, and I'm not. So as long as I'm using manageable weights, there's really no reason that I should completely negate it, but at the same time, I don't need it all the time. I don't need it every single set and every single rep. So of course, I'll pick and choose when I incorporate it, but it's a very good idea to include it at some point, especially in the beginning when you start and you are using very, very manageable weights, very easy resistance levels. It's a very good habit maker because it'll really set up your own standard for yourself, as well as knowing when you have completed a rep before you continue with the second phase of the exercise. So just a little tidbit. Okay, and then for the accessory, I went to a straight arm pull down, which I really like doing. I used the straight bar this time, which is my typical go-to. I have done straight arm pull downs with a rope. I've used it with a cambered bar. Today I just felt like using the straight bar, and I went a little bit heavier than last time. So basically what I did was a warm-up set of 8 with 50, and then I did progressive sets, just like bench press. So a set of 8 with 70, another set of 8 with 75, and then topping it off with a set of 8 at 80 pounds. And that was the workout. So tomorrow we've got squats and deadlifts, and I will really try my best to include a strength exercise or two afterwards. I don't want to go back to another cardio replacement, I would really like to do something like maybe a lunge, maybe a different style squat, maybe a good morning, who knows. But I really should do something else other than just squats and deadlifts, even though, of course, that's always a very good, complete lower body workout. I really should throw something else in there, especially since last time I just opted for the treadmill, which was fun, which was great. It's just that I really ought to be honing in on the strength exercises. So I'll decide tomorrow after I do deadlifts, so we'll see what happens there. But that's basically it. I hope you all are doing great, having a wonderful weekend. The weather's improving, and hopefully we'll have good weather soon. Alright, y'all, thank you so much. Take care, have a great rest of your Catterday, and adopt, don't chop.